Welcome to Wanna Bet, the daily gambling game show that takes betting seriously, but not much else. Get our favorite plays on the totals, sides, props, exotics, and futures to jump on now.
So let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Subject, custom, cat, concept, about concept, fairly known. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben.
Hey there, welcome to a Tuesday edition of Wanna Bet. We appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, we are here for you. Our goal on this little gambling game show is to make you guys as much money as possible and give you our very best plays for today, tonight, the future, all the above. Our guest today is my buddy Joe Ostrowski from the BetMGM Network. He hosts Bet Sweats daily every weekday morning. Joe and I do a show together on Sunday mornings from 8 to 11 Eastern, BetMGM Game Day. I can never remember the title, but I'm pretty sure that's the title, where we basically get you set for every NFL game. And Joe is based in Chicago, and we're going to drill down a little bit on Chicago. So we've got our first three downs, as always, our favorite bets of the day, 1 through 3, third down, money down in the NFL. That's the bet we feel strongest about, fourth and long, where we look at long-term bets or long shots. We will look at the NFC North and those Chicago Bears. And then overtime, the Cubbies. Are the Cubbies worth sprinkling on? And any futures bets? What do we think of the Cubbies as the unofficial halfway point of the MLB season and the All-Star break approaches? Joe O, we appreciate your time. Is there anything else you have cooking that we could promote for you here on Wanna Bet?
No, that's plenty. And I get where you're coming from. I get confused sometimes. Earlier this morning, I was saying the wrong network. It was what the network used to be called.
Yes.
So yeah, that after the long weekend, that'll happen. But yes, it is BetMGM Game Day. And I also do that quick pause right before. Okay, wait, what show am I on right now? Yep. So, yep. Yeah, for sure, man. No, you covered it all. Looking forward to this football season. Looking forward to talking about these bets today.
Awesome. Well, you have the honors. First bet of the day. Oh, wait, real quick before we get there. Oh, Beltway Ben, how did we do last night? Yeah, rough night for me. Great night for Beltway Ben, who has been crushing the WNBA lately. And Ramirez was a great call. The Guardians had not been hitting the ball at all, and he hit a bomb that killed my Astros bet. So, you know, that those two ended up being kind of linked. And I'm hoping for 0-0 at the half today in sweltering heat at the Meadowlands in that Fluminense Chelsea match. Get us to 0-0 at the half. I'll feel really good about that under. You can see our season totals here. We've been doing this show for about 6 weeks. If you've been tailing us, you've been cashing. Okay, Joe, with that out of the way, where are you taking us on first down, my friend?
Yeah, you guys are killing it. I do have something on first down for today in Major League Baseball. Typically not a run line guy, but there are a couple of heavy favorites that I do like. So I'm going to pair them together just to flat out win. We've got the Blue Jays going for their 10th straight win at the White Sox. That shouldn't be too tough. I thought the Blue Jays might be in trouble last night. That was not the case. But Savali's a guy they've seen in the past, and they have crushed him for a long, long time. A 939 OPS for this offense against them. Like, you look at the exit velo, the expected numbers, like expected batting average, just destroyed Savali. So I like Toronto to win, and I'm going to pair that with the Boston Red Sox, another team whose offense is hot right now. As you guys are aware, that AL East is completely wide open, and we get to pick against Colorado. And you put these two together, you get a plus 120 money line parlay. So I'm going Toronto and Boston, an AL East play for you.
Love it, love it, love it. All right, Beltway Ben. You going WNBA? I don't know. I don't know this. I'm just guessing. We do not communicate about this. Are you going WNBA, Beltway Ben?
No, I will be saving WNBA for third down.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
I will stick to a little bit what Joe was saying. Vladdy Guerrero Jr., over 1.5 total bases. And he's 5 for 14 with a home run in his career against Savali. I remember we tacked this. It was probably my first week back or second week back from vacation when we were on here. And I took Vladdy against Savali. He lines out twice, hits the ball 105 miles per hour plus, both at bats. Then comes up in the 6th inning, drives a home run out, and cashes for us there. That was just hits, runs, RBIs because you could get it at 1.5. Today it's up to 2.5, and I'm just staying away. I'm just going with the total bases, which for Vladdy is still very possible. Righties are hitting 284 against Savali, and Vladdy's been better against lefties, but he still has a 263, 373, 416 slash line against right-handed pitching. So it's not that drastic of a fall to make you kind of want to back out of this. Vladdy is one of the game's best hitters. He's still sitting in that 2 spot. The Blue Jays are playing great. And Savali is not comfortable enough at home, right? He's only been in Chicago for a few weeks. It's not like he's been there all season long and we see these different splits where he's so much better at home compared to on the road. No, he just started pitching in Chicago a few weeks ago. So I like Vladdy to go over 1.5 total bases.
I love it. You guys are beating up on some of the worst teams in the majors, and I'm here for it. First down, I am going to be beating up on one of the worst teams in the majors as well, although if you haven't been following some of the run line numbers, you might not know about it. Give me the Cubs on the run line for plus money today against the Twinkies. Did you gentlemen know that Minnesota is 0-8 their last 8 games on the run line, 3-13?
Wow.
Their last 16, 2-9 on the run line, their last 11 at home. Simeon Woods Richardson, nothing particularly special about him on the mound for Minnesota. He's got a 4.72 ERA in his last 7. The Cubbies have been swinging the bats well. I don't want to belabor the point too much on the Cubbies because we're going to dig down on them in overtime. But Imanaga, who's great anywhere, when you get him out of the bandbox of Wrigley, he's got a sub-1 ERA on the road. We're talking about the league batting like 180 off of him outside of Wrigley. Now, look, Minnesota does do a pretty good job at home against lefties. They're a top 10 team, but this is no ordinary lefty. I like everything about the Cubs right now, what they're getting out of our buddy Matt Shaw. Go Terps, since he came back at the back end of that lineup. Like, I just feel like that lineup's a little deeper now, and I think Woods Richardson's going to have difficulty with the Kyle Tuckers of the world. And the Suzukis of the world. So give me the Cubs to do some damage today. All right, second down, Beltway Ben.
I'm going to stick with the MLB here. I'm going to go with Lawrence Butler over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs at minus 130. Again, when you can get leadoff hitters for this juice or just a little bit more, it's well worth the play. Butler masters right-handed pitching as well, and that's the matchup he'll get today against Fuentes, who Jason has talked about it on this show multiple times.
Yeah.
Multiple times on this show.
He's going to be okay. He's going to be okay.
Yeah.
He's just 20 years old, and he's had like 1 start above Double-A, and then they threw him to the Wolves in the majors.
Right. Lefties are hitting 360 against him with 2 home runs in just 6 innings. And he got some swing and miss last game, but a lot of that was against right-handed hitters. And you look at what lefties are doing against him, just 2 strikeouts in 6 innings pitched. And that's one of the struggles that Butler has, right? He swings really hard, and he's trying to do damage every single time, but Fuentes isn't striking out left-handed batters. Righty against righties, 268, 341, 438 slash line for Butler. Start the game off with a single or double. Easily can come in with this offense. And the A's, as bad as they've been, the offense can still do damage. And in the leadoff spot, too good for me to pass up on at 1.5 at minus 130.
I will be in MLB on second down. I need a bounce back night tonight because I was not great in MLB last night. And I'm going to go about 10 miles from this basement that I'm sitting in right here. And I'm going to go with the Mets first 5 money line against the Orioles. If you've been fading the Orioles on the run line at home, you've been making a lot of money because they are 14-27 on the run line at home. Second worst in Major League Baseball. Holmes, who's on the bump for the Mets, they've won 11 of the 17 games that he started. His last 15 games with Holmes on the mound for the Mets, of those 15 games, they have led in 10 of them. They have been tied in 1, which still works for us. We at least get our money back. Just 4 times he would have lost on the money line his last 15 starts. He's familiar with this ballpark from his time in the American League with the Yankees. And the spot starter for the O's tonight, Brandon Young, just has not been good. He profiles as a long man at best for me at the major league level. This front office is trying to prove how smart they are and that they have a kid who was a basically nothing burger in the draft who they believe they've turned into something. They really haven't. And his 7.03 ERA speaks to that. I don't see him getting a lot of swing and miss here. He's allowed 22 hits in 16 2/3 innings, and he has yet to go into the 5th. So we might also get in a situation where we get a Bowman or a Blewett or whoever the mop-up middle reliever du jour is for the O's, who might also get lit up here. Mets bullpen, gives me a little bit of pause. I think there's an underbelly there, so I'm shortening the game and playing the money line. If you want to lay a half a run with the Mets, I ain't mad at you, but that's where I am. Joe O, second down for you.
All right, I've got an NFL prop here for you, a season-long one, and I don't think a lot of people are going to be in on this because the number is going to look a little scary. And my play is going to the second down, a guy that the Eagles went to a lot on second down. Saquon Barkley, let's go under 1,500 and the hook on the rushing yards heading into season number 8 for Saquon. He eclipses 1,500-yard number once. And that was, of course, last year when he got all the way to 2,000 yards. Is this going to be the year where it takes a step back? They're going to be playing the long game. They need to get through the entire season with him. And I was amazed when you count the playoff touches that Saquon had last year, 482.
Wow.
482 touches, 104 in the playoffs alone. So that's a heavy workload for a few straight years now. And you've got the Eagles a much tougher schedule. That's going to happen, of course, surrounded by a better offense. But, there's a patch there where they go against the Rams run defense, then the Bucks, then the Broncos. They got a lot of tough matchups. Of course, Detroit, it looks like they're going to be healthier this year, at least on that defensive front. I think they got to play the long game here, guys, with as much as they pushed Saquon last year, asked for him to do nearly 500 touches. That is unheard of because we know the history. We know the Sean Alexander stories that are out there.
Yes.
So I'm going to go under 1,500 rushing yards for Saquon this year.
No, I love it. That is a smart play. And to your point, if he has like a hammy, Howie Rose was just step in and say, "Hey, bro, give him 3 weeks. We go 2-1 without him. Like, give him 3 weeks. Like give him what he needs because it's all about the playoffs now. Absolutely. Wow, over 100 touches in the postseason. Woo. Okay, third down. I am going to a play that went against me yesterday, and I feel compelled to go back to the well because I don't think lightning strikes twice. And so we are going first 5 under in this Royals Pirates game. Now, the Royals don't hit lefties. They did last night. They hit Heaney, so that happened. They destroyed him. That's fine. Mitch Keller's been better than Heaney. And I look at this pitching matchup, right? And you've got Keller, who's got a 3.16 ERA on the road. When he gets outside of that bandbox in Pittsburgh, that's why you're starting to see him all of a sudden as a top 5 trade candidate because other teams are looking at the form he's in saying, wait a minute, there's no pitching available. This guy is more than just a 3.5 or a 4. You've got Lugo for the Royals, who has a 2.4 ERA at home. The league batting just 220 off him in that big ballpark at Kauffman Stadium. He has a 2.11 ERA in his last 7 starts. Gentlemen, quiz. Who do you think is the lowest scoring team in Major League Baseball on the road? It's the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah.
2.8 runs per game. Who do you think's the lowest scoring team in the majors at home? Take a wild guess.
Pittsburgh.
No, Kansas City.
Oh, okay.
They're at home. Kansas City, 2.98 runs per game at home. The next worst is 3.4. They're on their own planet. So do I think these teams are going to conspire for as many runs as last night? No. If you want to take home road out of it, they are the 2 lowest scoring teams in Major League Baseball on a per game average. And I'm going to eliminate the Pirates' janky bullpen here and play the first 5. All right, Beltway Ben, what do you have third down?
Yeah, like I said, we're going to go to WNBA here, and this is where I'm going to go with Asia Wilson over 32.5 points and rebounds. And she's under this in 2 straight, and one of them was on the hook. And she didn't play a lot of minutes in those games, right? 26 and 24 because of the blowout. But when you go to the one matchup they had with the Liberty this year, she went for 31 and 16. Massive showing. She did play 36 minutes in that game. But when you get that type of matchup with 2 teams that were in the finals and really compete and 2 of the best players matching up in the league, you're going to see Asia Wilson try to put this team on her back. She hasn't had a 30-point showing since that matchup, or just one since that matchup. But I do think tonight she gets going. I think she's aggressive on the glass, which, like, we've seen her rebounds go up and down, right? She's got just 3 in 2 straight games, but the game before that she had 18. She's all over the place on rebounds, so I'm going to add points in, but I do like her over 32.5 points and rebounds at -110.
Love it. Beltway Ben has been very hot in the WNBA. All right, Joe. Oh, third down. Close us out here. Where are we going?
All right, I don't think you're going to like this one because it is
Oh.
Cowboys related. It is positive Cowboys related.
Hey, I like it if it makes me money, brother. If it makes me money, I like it.
That's true. That's true. I'm going to go with Dak Prescott. I picked 3,800 in the hook on the passing yards. If you want to go 26.5 on the passing touchdowns, I do not have a problem with it. We know how they bolstered the offense in the offseason. Not only do you still have CeeDee Lamb, but now he has George Pickens on the other side. They have a better run game. Well, it couldn't possibly get any worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It won't be great, though. I don't think it'd be great.
But I don't think it's going to really impact at all.
No.
And you look at Dak's history. Now, the injuries are always going to scare you. If you're betting over on Dak, that's going to be your big worry. But if you look at his injuries, in 2020, he had the ankle. He comes back almost 4,500 passing yards, 37 touchdowns. He was second in comeback player of the year. 22, he's dealing with the thumb. He played 12 games, and then he's out. Next year, he had 4,500 passing yards, 36 touchdowns. He was second in the MVP race. And then, of course, he missed half the season with the hamstring last year. I think he's going to bounce back. I'm expecting a pretty good year out of this Cowboys offense. We do still have continuity with their decision. I don't know it's a right decision for head coach, but I'm rolling with the continuity there, and Dak with more weapons. They've been looking for that second receiver forever. 3,800 yards. They're going to surpass that number offensively.
I'm with you. This quarterback makes $60 million, and Jerry wants him to throw the ball. I don't care who the coach is. You work for Jerry. Jerry will be very vocal. If Jerry doesn't think he's throwing the ball enough, Jerry will go on his shows. I think he's 3 times a week. He's on the radio, and he will tell the world, we're not, hey, I ain't giving Dak Prescott $60 million to hand the ball off to second-rate running back. So I am riding the lightning. I'm with you. And not only that, Joe O, I will see that 3,800, and I will play that over 4,000 or 3,999 in a hook in alt markets, because if he plays 12, 13 games, he's going to throw for 4,000 yards because they're going to be behind. They're not as good as people think. And that's how they justify their existence, is with hollow stats and box scores. So I love it. And I'm a Cowboy hater, but I love that bet. And Dan Campbell there is a perfect segue. And we use that when we want to ride the lightning on somebody's bet. To take us to the NFC North, a division that Joe knows quite well. The Chicago Bears, they've kind of been sexy for 2 years now. Like, people have been trying to convince me to bet on the Bears. They have yet to do that. I still remain a bit skeptical. Joe O, are there things in this division that you like, that you have played? And what do you think of Ben Johnson, former Dan Campbell disciple, and the Chicago Football Bears?
Well, that's been a good move if you've been fading that Bears noise.
Yes.
And it's not just the last couple of years, it's every single offseason. It's just one of those fan bases. That's what they do. And they back up their talk with bets. That's what Bears fans do, especially legalized sports betting now. Look, I kind of want to fade it. Like, that's what I want to do because I've seen it so many times. Do you know how many times since they fired Lovie Smith, the Bears have gone over the win total? I think that we're now at 11, 12 years.
Maybe twice.
Once. That was Matt Nagy's first year. They go 12-4. They have a phenomenal defense. Everything goes perfect. Even with Mitchell Trubisky under center, they still go well over that win total. He ends up being a coach of the year, even though he wasn't that great of a coach. As far as the division, you know, we were talking on Bet Sweats today about the candidates for worst to first, and you start going over the teams that finished in last place a year ago, and you've got San Francisco. They're a favorite in their division, and the other one is New England. Those are going to be the two popular ones, and I'm looking at the Bears at plus 550. Well, am I buying Detroit as much as I did a year ago? Are there questions with Minnesota? I'm not saying fade them, but like you can tell yourself a story where McCarthy struggles early on in the season, being basically a rookie quarterback. Like, how much is it going to impact Detroit losing both coordinators and a ton of assistants? Like, I think there are questions to be answered. So maybe the division is open a little bit more than people are expecting. So I'm not shouting down a lot of the Bears love, but it's not like there's a Bills in the division.
Right.
It's not like there's a Chiefs or anything like that. So I do understand if you want to say, hey, plus 550, maybe a dart throw, they could win that division as the fourth favorite. I do think it's possible. Speaking of McCarthy, look at his props on the year. 36.50 on the passing yards, 24.5 passing touchdowns. With those weapons, with that head coach,
Yeah.
Darnold did 4,300 yards, and the number's 36.50. Darnold did 35 passing touchdowns, right? And he gets 10 less. It still goes over the number for McCarthy, assuming he's able to stay healthy. So I think that's pretty intriguing. I don't think the Vikings, as much as I said, hey, it is McCarthy, how much do you trust him? I think they're going to be just fine. I don't see it as a massive downgrade from Darnold. And, the Bears one that stood out to me is Loveland. They drafted him to step in right away.
Yeah.
Like Ben Johnson identified him as his tight end, not Cole Kmet, who they paid a few years ago, Loveland. And we've seen what he's done with rookie tight ends in the past. The Loveland numbers, 675 on the yards, only 4.5 receiving touchdowns, 4.5 plus money on the over. So those are a few season-long player props that I would take a look at in the North.
Yeah, I love that. As a team, I couldn't get there on Minnesota. There's too many variables for me. I'll play them in season. But I if you're looking for a McCarthy comp, I think McCarthy can have a year like Bo Nix last year. And if you were riding on a week-to-week basis, Bo Nix touchdowns and Bo Nix yards, you made a lot of money. I know because I was on it. Beltway, Ben, what are your plays in this division?
Yeah, I'll start here with DJ Moore. I'll go 1,000+ yards of plus money. And I mean, again, like when you just look at the plus money plays you can get, 4 or 7 years, he's got 1,000+ yards, and we're getting plus money here at plus 125. I get it. They went out and drafted Burden. He fell to them further than most expected. And Odunze is going to be in year 2, but Keenan Allen's gone. We'll see the creativity from Ben Johnson. I expect a lot of screens, a lot of yak coming from DJ Moore this season. And the Bears, I mean, however you look at them, I do think they'll be in games and, have to throw the ball a little bit. And I think we should see a big step from the quarterback this year. As, I mean, we heard all the hate with Williams and everything like that, but I do expect to see some growth from him. And then my other play is Josh Jacobs over 1050.5 rushing yards at minus 110. And just to be simple here, I mean, the guy's done it every year he's been healthy. Yeah. And this is a guy that Green Bay showed how much they liked him. And I understand last year we saw Jordan Love dealing with the injury, but to me, if Jordan Love is healthy and the pass is a little bit more of a scare like it was the previous year, the field should open up for Josh Jacobs. So I like him over 1050.5 rushing yards.
Well, and remember, Josh Jacobs came into the league young. Josh Jacobs has been durable. They've got a solid offensive line. And unlike most Alabama backs, Josh Jacobs did not get ridden hard by Saban. He really only played 1 year. So I love that play. Look, segueing off of Jacobs, if you've watched this show at all, I've been banging the drum for Green Bay. And I've talked a lot about Green Bay to win the division, which you can still get at plus 260. I also, over the weekend, I sprinkled on Green Bay plus 1,000 to lose in the NFC Championship game and Green Bay plus 1,900 to lose in the Super Bowl. I think Green Bay has a shot to be the 1 seed. If there is a little bit of regression from the Eagles, I think they're going to eat each other out west. That's going to be a tough division this year. And I think this division is going to be a little softer than it has been. So that's a play. Those are plays that I've made. And then the other play that I like is Detroit plus 300 to lose in the wild card round. If you're with me and you think Green Bay's winning the division, that means Detroit's got to go on the road. And Detroit, without Ben Johnson and without Aaron Glenn and without all those creature comforts, having to go on the road, I think is going to be a tough ask. And look, they've tended to pee on their own leg a little bit from Dan Campbell on down in the postseason. So that's where I am on this division. Didn't make any plays, have not made any plays on the Bears or Vikings yet. All right, overtime. Chicago Cubs, one of the feel-good stories in baseball. They had a hot start. I was a little skeptical. There's a part of me that still wonders if the Brewers can make this a race. But from a betting standpoint, there's nothing to see here. To win the division, minus 460, don't do that. Find other ways to spend your money on Cubs to win the division. But as it stands right now, gentlemen, you look at wins, right? And only the Tigers, the Dodgers, and the Houston Astros have more wins than the Chicago Cubs. So, Joe O, does Chicago to win 100 games at plus 360 do anything for you?
Whew. That's insane. That's an insane conversation, even though we've watched what's happened. If we're talking regular season success, I'd be in for that. I can see it. Now, when we get to the playoffs, that's an entirely different conversation. But based on what this offense is doing, and we expect them to add at the deadline,
Yes.
that is very doable. And the division's probably going to end up being a wrap. I mean, it feels like every time somebody makes a case for a team in the division, whether it's the Cincinnati Reds or most recently the St. Louis Cardinals, then we see what happens, and the Cubs end up pulling away a little bit. And the offense is not going to stop.
No.
And it is hot here this summer, so the runs are going to continue to keep on rolling in. But we know that's not what gets it done once we get to the fall. For those kinds of games, the Cubs are going to have to make a number of moves. So the 100 games thing, the current updated win total in season is 94.5. Could they get there? Yeah, I could see that with the way this offense is rolling right now. And we expect them to add to the rotation, probably add to the bullpen. 100 is doable. It's probably the only regular season bet that you can make with them.
I'd sprinkle on it. I'd sprinkle on it. But wait, Ben, or anything on the Cubbies interest you? Or anything you'd like to ask Joe O? Oh, you're going. That's a one-unit play there. That's meatball. That's a one-unit play.
Yeah, it's an official play for me. I'm fully bought in. You look at their second half of the season schedule, it's not too tough. And it's a lot of teams that are going to be selling at the deadline. Mm-hmm. Atlanta, who nobody expected. They get to play Atlanta in 2 series after the deadline, which is pretty big there. And like Colorado, you just look through their schedule, and there's a lot of games that are winnable, and they got to finish the second half 46 and 36, I believe, to get here. Yeah, so I'll play that at plus 360. And I want to ask you, Joe, like, I feel like Sandy might be a layup, right? Sandy Alcantara for them. When you look at their team, I think the lineup is there. There might be a few tweaks here or there. But I think starting pitching, maybe a reliever is the big get there. Do you think that they add a tier 1 or tier 2 starting pitcher at the deadline?
They don't have a choice. They have to. And everything the team has done, they've proven that you have to. And you have a desperate general manager. Jed Hoyer's contract is expiring in a couple of months. I'm shocked at what he's built, how they rebuilt this after getting rid of everybody after winning the World Series, kind of resetting, and what he's built now and the depth that they have inside the organization, that they've let his contract status get to this point. Like, he's proven he knows what the hell he's doing. But no, they're still waiting it out, and they haven't extended him. So you've got a desperate GM fighting for his job. And until proven otherwise, I think Kyle Tucker's gone in a couple months.
Yeah.
So they're not going to pay him all that money. Ricketts aren't going to do that.
No.
So why not go all in? Why have any regrets afterwards? Like, oh man, we should have made that one extra move that I think could have put us over the top when we had Kyle Tucker for that one season. They've got to do something. Yeah, Sandy is the obvious one, but there are some other ones that it could be possible, like Seth Lugo. Kansas City's 14, 15 games back in the AL Central. They're 5 back, I believe, in the wild card. They could fall off. Peralta, are they going to make a move in the division? Maybe. Mitch Keller's name's also been out there. They have to make a move for a starting pitcher. My concern, if you're thinking big picture stuff with the Cubs, who are now 13-1, is I'm worried they need 2. As ridiculous as that sounds. Now they got Imanaga back in the fold. Matthew Boyd, now an all-star for the Cubs, having maybe his best year in his age 34 season. Are you getting that guy in the second half? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know about that. You might need a couple of starters. And of course, you had the Justin Steele injury early on with your ace going down. I mean, it's Boyd. There's a big gap. And then the other starters have stepped in. In his 10 starts, Imanaga has been good. But, man, for what you need out of a playoff run, guys, I think they need a couple of starters. So it's 1 minimum.
Yeah, I mean, and some of these contracts like Alcantara, even the Ricketts couldn't balk at that. I mean, it is team friendly as hell in its control. So I look, to put a bow on this, if you're believing what we're saying, you want to get on these odds now, because 2 weeks from now, when things heat up at the trade deadline, and if they do make a blockbuster and they stay hot, I got news for you. You're not going to be able to get the kind of value on 100 wins and some of this stuff as well. And I'm with Joe O. I prefer to play in regular season than playoffs. Just it's a different, that's a whole different animal. Mm-hmm. than the regular season. Well, Joe O, we thank you for playing Wanna Bet with us. Let everybody know again where they can find you.
We got Bet Sweats weekdays, 9 a.m. to noon Eastern time on the BetMGM network. Go to betmgmnetwork.com. That takes you to the Odyssey app. Also, Odyssey stations throughout the country, and you can check out the Bet Sweats podcast.
Excellent. You can check us out at noon tomorrow. It is a Wednesday, so it's Wednesday with PLL, Premier Lacrosse League. Ben, I don't know about you, but I'm loving the Friday night slate. I feel really good about the Friday night slate in the PLL. We'll have those plays and so much more for you guys tomorrow. Some World Club Cup soccer, some WNBA, some MLB that we're already looking at for tomorrow. We'll be back in about 24 hours on Wanna Bet.